The text I want to talk about today is an advertisement encouraging the use of the HPV vaccine, seen here. There are 3 parts to this. The first part of the text says HPV vaccine is cancer prevention. The second part says if there were a vaccine against cancer, wouldn't you get it for your kids? And the third part states, talk to your doctor about vaccinating your 11 to 12-year-old sons and daughters against HPV. What's important about this text to emphasize is that it's meant for parents. It's not meant for the kids receiving the vaccine, which they're suggesting it should be about 11 to 12-year-old. So the important thing to ask yourself is, well, what is the human papillomavirus? It's actually the most common sexually transmitted infection. But what's weird about this advertisement is the sexual component of the virus is very absent from the text. This is largely due to our culture and how we talk about sex. Older generations seem to hold on to this idea that if they introduce their kids to something sexual, they'll be inclined to have sex. This message of disassociating the vaccine from sex is emphasized by the recommendation to vaccinate your sons and daughters between that specific 11 to 12-year-old range, where most kids are not reaching their sexual maturity or even starting to really think about sex. So that sex aspect doesn't have to be addressed quite yet in pertaining to those desires and really talking about it. It's just another routine vaccine for the kid as far as they know. What's important about this vaccine is the virus they're trying to prevent is responsible for several types of cancer, including cervical, anal, penile, and vaginal cancer, as well as genital warts, which nobody wants. Prevention is the most powerful tool we have against diseases, and the CDC knows this, and that's why they say HPV vaccine is cancer prevention. So looking through a pentad perspective, the agency is to promote prevention through obligation. It doesn't want to get caught up with the political implications, and simply is stating we have a problem, now we have a solution, so let's use it. This is further instilled when they say if there was a vaccine against cancer, wouldn't you get it for your kids? You should just use it. It's there. The text further emphasizes that obligation when looking through the good versus evil frame. Pretty much cancer is bad. Life, especially for your kid, is good. So we must do everything in our power to stop it. So, again, cancer bad, living good. The final thought I want to leave you with is looking at this text through a feminist perspective, which might not be the first thing we think about. But the majority of this virus that the vaccine is preventing is actually causing cervical cancer. And cervical cancer doesn't affect men, since men don't have cervixes. But yet the CDC wants both men and women to get vaccinated. That's because men can carry the virus, but women will more tend to get sick from it because they have the right parts. And it's actually really refreshing to see an agency start to put an emphasis on women's health through the use of men, because typically we want to think, women are responsible for our own problems, and if we have problems, it's our problem solely, and men can't do anything about it, nor should they. And this ad starts to kind of change that conversation, saying, if a woman's health is affected by a man, he should feel equally as obligated to do something about it. And, from a worldwide standpoint, the reality is, if we can prevent sickness, the strain on the entire system, including men and women, will be less. So those are kind of my thoughts on this ad, and please comment.